Dear respected listeners, you are tuning into Buddha's Healing a Sanctuary, where we contemplate the Buddha's teachings to live peacefully amidst the flow of life. The vortex of making a living and the most expensive life trading contract, amidst the rushing currents of the money-driven era, where every measure of success seems to be converted by the world into soulless numbers in a bank account. Massive fortunes or glamorous titles, people are increasingly swept into an endless race. If you take a quiet moment in the dead of night, relax your heavy shoulders and look deeply into the rhythm of your own life, you will realize a heart-wrenching truth. Many of us are living no differently than pre-programmed machines. From the crack of dawn until night falls, our minds and bodies are continuously exhausted in the grinding wheel of work, projects, contracts, and the thirst for promotion. We rush into the streets before the sun even rises and return home when the city is fast asleep. Carrying an exhausted body and an empty soul, we justify this frantic busyness with seemingly entirely legitimate reasons. Working for our children's future, working to provide for our parents, working to build a solid home unthreatened by the storms of life. Yet behind those noble reasons, hidden deep within the dark corners of the consciousness, lies an invisible fear and a bottomless greed erected by the prideful ego. We fear inferiority, we fear the judgment of others, and we desperately crave societal recognition through the lens of materialism. To satisfy that craving, humans have unwittingly signed the most ruthless contract in the world, trading their lives, trading their health, trading every peaceful breath for lifeless banknotes. You are willing to stay awake for many consecutive nights, forcing your heart to pound rapidly under the influence of thick cups of coffee. You skip warm family meals, replacing them with fast food hastily swallowed during work hours. You ignore the aching pain in your spine, the blurring of your eyes, and the exhaustion of your nervous system, just to try and touch the finish line of wealth. But alas, the horizon keeps receding and human greed has no limits. When we achieve one, we want 10. When we have 10, we look bitterly at the one who has 100. That race has absolutely no finish line. And the only thing depleting day by day on that track is your precious life force. Money is a temporary means. Yet humans turn themselves into slaves. The root cause that makes modern humanity easily fall into the trap of exhaustion is the disastrous delusion regarding the core value of happiness. We are mesmerized by worldly illusions, believing that absolute security can only be bought with vast amounts of money. People always believe that when their account reaches a certain number, when they own a spacious house and an expensive car, then anxieties will automatically cease and they will be free to enjoy peace. That is the greatest illusion of the mind. The truth is, money in itself carries no sin. It is a highly necessary and useful means to sustain physical life, providing us with food, clothing, transportation, and the ability to share and help the vulnerable. But the tragedy truly begins when humans let greed arise, reversing the position of money. Instead of mastering money, turning it into a tool to serve life, we lower our own souls, dropping to our knees to become the most loyal slaves to material desires. Once you become a slave to greed, your eyes will be blinded. You will no longer see the simple beauties of all things around you. You will no longer have the time to gaze at a blossoming flower in the morning dew, no time to listen to a soothing melody, or simply lack the mental presence to sit quietly, drink a cup of tea, and feel your own breath. The entire life energy bestowed by the universe narrows down, trapped merely in profit numbers and calculative gains and losses. The obsession with money robs you of your presence in the current moment. You might be lying on an expensive, soft mattress, but your mind is burning in the fiery pit of anxiety about tomorrow's market. You might be sitting at a lavish dinner with your family, but your eyes are soulless, your head busy with endless work messages. That physical presence accompanied by spiritual absence not only devastates internal health, but also erodes the most sacred, intimate relationships. At some point, standing at the pinnacle of fame and wealth, looking around, you will only see enveloping loneliness and a broken body, incapable of enjoying what you traded blood and tears to attain. The Buddha's teachings on the fire of desire and the philosophy of contentment, penetrating the ephemeral nature of all things and the cause of all suffering in the human realm. The awakened one left behind incredibly miraculous, enlightening words to rescue souls drowning in the intoxication of greed. The Buddha once taught that human desire is like a blazing forest fire. The more wood you throw in, the fiercer that fire will burn. It can never satisfy or extinguish itself. Pursuing endless wealth by trading one's health is exactly like a person walking in an arid desert who, out of extreme thirst, chooses to drink bitter, salty seawater. The more they drink, the more intense the thirst becomes. The more the throat burns, and ultimately they will collapse because of the very water they thought would bring life. In the teachings of the great master, he always reminded his disciples of a miraculous medicine capable of extinguishing all fires of affliction. The practice of contentment, knowing when enough is enough. A contented person is not lazy, depressed, unwilling to work, or lacking the will to rise in life. A contented person still labors diligently and dedicates themselves fully. But they work in mindfulness and with a deep understanding of their own limits. They clearly know what the necessary needs for life are, and what constitutes the bottomless greed of the ego. The Buddha enlightened us that a contented person, even if they must sleep on the bare earth, wear coarse cloth, and eat meager meals, still has peace and leisure reigning in their soul, as if strolling through the heavenly realms. Conversely, a person who does not know contentment, even if seated upon a radiant throne, living in a majestic palace, and surrounded by thousands of servants, still holds a suffocating battlefield within their mind. Full of insecurity, fear, and lack, contentment is an invaluable spring, a shield protecting your vital life force against the cruel temptations of the world. When you know what is enough, you will know how to stop. You will no longer force the physical carriage to speed dangerously on the bumpy road of making a living. You will know to set aside quiet moments for the body to rest and the soul to be cleansed. Preserving your life force is the root of all merit. There is no fortune in this world that can compare to the value of a peaceful breath and a robust body. Losing your health in exchange for lifeless coins is the most ignorant, most unprofitable investment that humans frequently make. The terrifying silence of a body desperately crying for help in vain. The human body is an incredibly miraculous and intelligent machine. It always has self-protecting mechanisms and frequently sends out warning signals whenever you exhaust its vitality. It could be a sharp pain in the chest, a dizzy spell when standing up, fitful sleep filled with nightmares, or a prolonged feeling of energy depletion even when you haven't done any heavy labor. Yet, in the rush of the money race, We become cold and cruel to our own most sacred temple. When the body cries out for help with mild pains, instead of stopping to rest, we use the overwhelming force of our willpower to crush it. We hastily swallow a few painkillers, chug chemical energy drinks, and tell ourselves, just finish this project, just endure this period, and then I'll rest. But that period extends infinitely. We ignore the voice of the body, forcing it to operate beyond its capacity. Just like a person relentlessly whipping an old, exhausted horse pulling an overloaded cart. That horse cannot speak human language. It only knows to tense its muscles and endure until it completely collapses, runs out of breath, and dies tragically on the road. Your body is exactly the same. When its initial cries for help are extinguished and ignored in vain, it will enter a state of silence. This silence is not a sign of health, but the accumulation of profound internal damage. Until one day, when the final drop makes the cup overflow, when the biological limits are completely shattered, the body will go on strike in the most ruthless manner through sudden strokes, heart attacks, or incurable diseases. At that time, even if you offer mountains of gold and seas of silver, you cannot buy back the gentle smile and peaceful breath of yesterday. To ensure we never fall into the tragic state of harboring regrets on a hospital bed, we must awaken right now. Clearly recognizing the signs of exhaustion is not only a way to protect our physiology, but is also a meditative practice on treasuring human life. The story of the golden carriage and the exhausted ox. Let us quietly lay down the heavy burdens of reality, allowing the footsteps of our consciousness to carry us back in time, returning to the bustling and prosperous capital of Varanasi in the ancient past. At the crossroads of vital trade routes, there lived a highly renowned wealthy merchant named Baddiya. Baddiya's wealth was countless. His storehouses were filled to the brim with fine silks, precious jewels, and the rarest spices brought from all corners of the world. From the outside looking in, the merchant's life was a perfect masterpiece of success. The burning desire of countless people struggling with poverty at the bottom of society. However, behind the intricately carved ironwood doors, behind the polite social smiles in the marketplace, Baddiya was the most miserable prisoner within his own golden kingdom. His thirst for wealth had no finish line. He worked day and night, never allowing himself a single moment of rest. He personally inspected every shipment, calculated every single coin, and constantly lived in a state of anxious fear of being cheated or surpassed by others. As time passed, Baddiya's physical body of flesh and bone began to cry out for help. Initially, it was just mild twinges in his chest whenever he stayed up all night reviewing ledgers. Then came the dizziness, the blurred vision, and the frequent ringing in his ears, buzzing like bees. Sleep became incredibly rare and luxurious, replaced by fitful nightmares filled with images of robberies or fires burning down his storehouses. Every simple joy in life vanished. His tongue could no longer taste the exquisite flavors of delicacies, and his eyes were no longer moved by the beauty of spring flowers. The only thing that could bring a forced smirk to his face was the clinking sound of new gold bars being added to his vault. His gentle and virtuous wife had shed tears countless times, kneeling to beg him to stop. She said, "My husband, our fortune is more than enough for 3 generations to consume. Why must you drain every drop of your blood like this? Look, your hair has turned gray, your back is hunched, your breath is labored. Please set aside some work and rest. Preserve your life. But Bad Dia brushed her off, his eyes laced with red streaks of anger and ambition. What do you know? The marketplace is a battlefield. Step back one pace and others will trample over us immediately. I must work. I must consolidate this empire. Wait until the silk transport mission to the neighboring kingdom is completed next month, bringing in tens of thousands of gold taels. Then it won't be too late to rest. And then that fateful next month arrived. Despite incredibly harsh weather and forecasts of sandstorms sweeping across the desert, Bad Dia was determined to personally lead the caravan of hundreds of carriages loaded with precious silk. Amidst the scorching, fiery heat of the desert, riding a warhorse that was bowing its head in exhaustion, Bad Dia continuously cracked his whip, screaming and urging the caravan forward. Suddenly, the sky turned pitch black. A massive sandstorm with terrifying destructive power struck, roaring like a bloodthirsty beast. Blinding dust obscured all vision, and the wind violently tossed precious bales of silk into the air. In that exact moment of chaos, the sharp chest pain that Bad Dia had intentionally ignored for years suddenly erupted fiercely. Like a sharp knife piercing his heart, he tumbled from his horse onto the scorching sand, clutching his chest tightly with both hands. His mouth gaping as he desperately but vainly gasped for air, his eyes rolled back, watching the carriages of silk being swept away by the sandstorm, and then everything plunged into thick darkness. When consciousness slowly returned, Bad Dia perceived a gentle scent of agarwood and the deep, resonant sound of chanting echoing in the space. He opened his heavy eyes, discovering himself lying on a simple bamboo cot in a quiet hermitage deep in the forest. Sitting beside him was a monk draped in yellow robes, his face radiating absolute freedom and stillness. It was the Venerable Su Buti, a renowned master of radiant wisdom. Memories of the sandstorm rushed back. Bad Dia sprang up, ignoring the sharp pain in his chest, and screamed in panic, "My goods! Where are my silk carriages? My entire fortune! I cannot lose it." The Venerable Subuti gently placed a hand on the merchant's shoulder, transmitting a stream of profound peace. "Please calm your mind. Your caravan was swallowed by the sandstorm. The surviving porters brought you here. You have just stepped through the gates of death. Your breath is still feeble, borrowed from the Grim Reaper. Why is your mind still lingering on those lifeless bales of silk?" Bad Dia covered his face and wept bitterly, tears of immense resentment and regret rolling down his gaunt cheeks. Heavens, that was my life's blood. How many sleepless nights, how much sweat and blood did I trade for it? Having lost them, what meaning is there left in my life? I'd rather have drowned in that sandstorm. The Venerable Subuti smiled with deep compassion. He unhurriedly stood up, walked to the door of the hermitage, and called to Bad Dia, "Come out here, this poor monk wishes to show you something." Bad Dia painfully dragged his steps outside. In the courtyard of the hermitage, beneath the shade of an ancient tree, stood a wooden ox cart loaded with incredibly heavy boulders. The cart was so heavy that its wheels had sunk deep into the mud. At the front, an old, emaciated ox, its body bleeding from deep whip marks, had collapsed on the ground. Its breathing was broken, its glassy eyes staring toward death. "What do you see in that cart?" Subuti asked in a solemn voice. Bad Dia frowned and replied, "That is an immoral cruelty. The ox is already so exhausted it cannot even stand. Yet the owner loaded a massive amount of stones onto the cart. If the ox dies, how can the cart ever move again?" The venerable Su Bu-Ti turned to look straight into the depths of the merchant's eyes, his voice resonating with enlightenment. "Respected Bad Dia, you see through the cruelty of the cart's owner. Yet you are completely blind to the cruelty of your own self. That cart loaded with stones is exactly the ambitions, the fortunes, and the calculated fame that you have shouldered day and night. And that dying, bleeding old ox is your very own body, your life force, your internal organs." Bad Dia stood frozen, his entire body trembling as if an electric current had run through it. "For many years," Su Bu-Ti continued, "your body has continuously cried for help. The chest pains, the sleepless nights, the mental exhaustion were the dry, desperate cries of the ox pulling an overloaded cart. But you felt no compassion. You continued to use the whip of greed to relentlessly lash at your own life, forcing it to drag on. Now the ox of your life has collapsed. So this monk asks you, even if that cart were filled with gold and jewels, could it roll forward on its own, when you lie deep beneath 3 feet of cold earth? Will those gold bars buy back a single beat of your heart?" The venerable master's words acted like a sharp sword, severing the thick root of ignorance within Bad Dia's consciousness. The veil of illusion regarding eternal wealth completely collapsed. He fell to his knees, covering his face and weeping. But this time, he did not cry in mourning for the lost silk. He wept out of absolute, profound remorse, out of a belated compassion for his own ruined body. "I was wrong. I was so wrong," Bad Dia sobbed. "I used my life as a slave for lifeless things. I threw away peaceful days with my family, threw away my most precious health, all for bottomless illusions. At that hermitage deep in the forest, Bad Dia decided to shed all his titles as a wealthy merchant, laying down all resentment and regret. He stayed at the hermitage for a time, learning how to breathe mindfully, learning how to eat a simple bowl of vegetarian rice in gratitude, and learning how to smile and embrace life every early morning. Through the miraculous act of letting go and immediately ceasing the exhaustion of his body, his heart disease gradually subsided. 10 years later, people no longer saw the notorious wealthy merchant Bad Dia in the marketplace, but only a gentle, elderly lay practitioner with a rosy complexion, using his remaining wealth to build charity homes, living each day in profound leisure, stepping lightly through the mundane world. The awakening lesson from letting go and treasuring life. Dear respected listeners, the image of the cart loaded with boulders and the dying old ox in the story above is not an unfamiliar phenomenon. Rather, it is an incredibly authentic and sharp sketch of the lives of countless people in modern society. Every single day, we are loading the cart of our lives with 1,000-pound burdens of expectations, material greed, and envious comparisons, ruthlessly using the whip of pressure to force our bodies to carry the load and march forward. Please awaken before it is too late. The human body is an invaluable asset, the only sacred temple that houses your soul and allows you to experience the miracles of life. The signs of energy depletion, chronic pains, or states of relentless insomnia are the most earnest cries for help from the very depths of your internal organs. Do not use extreme willpower to suppress them, nor use temporary stimulants to deceive the sensations of your nervous system. Letting go does not mean you have to abandon your job or become an irresponsible person to your family. Letting go here is a transformation in awareness. It is the art of knowing contentment, when you know how to stop at the right time. Know how to appreciate what you currently have: a roof to return to, a warm meal, a body without aching pain. You will instantly touch the truest spring of happiness. Even if money is piled as high as a mountain, it cannot stop the footsteps of impermanence. But a settled mind and a healthy physical constitution will be the sturdiest raft to help you navigate all the storms of human existence. Learn to love yourself and abandon the contract that sells your life cheaply. Allow the body to rest. Allow the mind to be still, because ultimately, there is absolutely no success in this world that can compensate for the total collapse of your health.